Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're gonna just roll with it. Oh, we live. What's up, baby? Good morning. It's Peace in the Morning show with Darius A. Stanton. It's Funky Friday, and we're gonna get right into it. As you can see, we looking around, dibbling, dabbling. Our good brother DJ Five Star right now. DJ Five Star. Yeah, DJ Five Star. Just so y'all can see him, he's not with us today. He's actually in Florida. Working, to get us out. We are launching a national tour, a world tour. Be bold for good. So stay tuned for that. And he's in Florida working on developing that right now in the sunny state of Florida. It's a lot warmer than what we got going on right here. But we're going to get into it because we need you. The focus of today's show on the Funky Friday Peace in the Morning show. We minus a little music because we got to get into it. We got a lot of serious things going on right now between. Well, let's bring the love to the table first. So we're grateful for our good and righteous ancestors to be here. We're thankful for all that you blessed us with. We had a really successful 50th anniversary Black Caucus, Maryland Black Caucus weekend, which was a host of workshops that started last Friday dealing with the 2030 Black Agenda on education, economics, affordable housing. And just quick note, don't focus on affordable housing. Focus on affordable home ownership, right? Home ownership. We want to focus on home ownership, not affordable housing, but home ownership. In addition to that, we also dealt with what we call the criminal justice system, social justice, and making sure, Maryland, unfortunately, which is where we're the home of the Peace in the Morning show, Maryland actually has the most Black males incarcerated than any other state in the entire country, including Mississippi, right? And we have the majority of the Black Caucus now. And so that's one of the things that the Black Caucus is focused on and working and addressing is reducing that number. But we also dealt with the environment. And, so these issues that we have embarked upon for the 2030 Black Agenda were definitely core of what we dealt with leading into the weekend last Friday. Then Saturday morning, we had business over breakfast with Congressman Kwesi Mfume, who did a phenomenal job. And he talked about family. He talked about the importance of family, the importance of legacy, and how that ties to business and making sure that we support people who support us, people who fund us. Right now, you may not be able to see it. Let me give you a little snapshot, but this shirt says Black Dollars Matter, right? Black Dollars Matter. And if you're interested in that, you can reach out to us at Peace in the Morning Show at gmail.com. That's Peace in the Morning Show at gmail.com. Also over the weekend, after the business over breakfast with Kwesi and Mfume, we had the gala, the 50th anniversary gala, which was a phenomenal event. We Are One Band played Frankie Beverly songs all evening long. And then we jumped into it with Regina Bell. And she was a true classic and really lit it up over there at Maryland Live. So it was a great weekend. We raised over $275,000 for the Black Caucus Foundation. Our goal is to raise at least $5 million so we can annually give away no less than $1 million to organizations in our community doing great work. So in addition to that, today's show, we need you, right? So we brought men on the show that are making a difference in our community. And we're going to be talking with them about what's going on the Eastern Shore, with the Caucus of African-American Leaders. We're going to be talking to them about the Voting Rights Bill, the John Lewis Voting Rights Bill, and why that's so important. And we're also going to be recruiting men. That's right, men, we need you. So if you know a man, an uncle, a brother, a cousin, a husband, a boyfriend that is a good brother, has a good spirit, a good heart in the state of Maryland, we're looking to help and bring these brothers into our communities. into our schools. You saw what took place in Louisiana with the dads on duty. It was all over the news, on Steve Harvey's show, a bunch of other shows. You know, we need to make sure that we get men into our schools. There's been an inordinate amount of fighting in our schools in Anne Arundel County. All around the state of Maryland, we've had our children, in the country for that matter, they've gone back to school. No mental health preparation, no evaluation, just brought them back in after the pandemic, putting alcohol on their hands. Alcohol, we will get into that, has a major impact on violence in our communities, you know, in terms of our being. And so we definitely want to bring men into the schools. So if you know some men, we definitely want women as well, but we know the impact that men have when that deep voice comes on there, Elder James. We know that makes a little bit of a difference, right? You don't have to put no hands on, just hugs, right? You demand respect, but you demand it by giving it. And so shout out to the brothers, my brothers over there in Baltimore City. They're actually speaking tonight, dealing with the violence. Dr. Bunley, Reverend, I've called the brother, Reverend Captain Andrew Muhammad, Professor Tyrone Powers. They're speaking this evening in Baltimore on violence, but they're also in the community every week and working with young men every week that moms can't deal with, brothers that just want to do something different. So we need you, we need you. And we're going to get into it. We'll talk a little bit about the state championships that are happening tomorrow, county football championships with tunnel vision. So you want to check that out at Savannah Park High School. We're going to cover that. And last but not least, we're kicking off today a coat drive. That's right. We're kicking off a winter coat drive. The Peace in the Morning show is partnering with a number of other businesses and entities to make sure that we get coats to our families, young people that need them. So we're asking for donations. We've already collected a $250 donation from Carmelita Mako. Thank you so much, Carmelita, for your business donating. That kicked us off the break. So we already have $250 towards our $1,000 goal today. So help us to reach that. Each week we're going to work to collect those resources to make sure that children have coats. You know how many children go outside with windbreakers, no coat at all, short sleeve shirts, sweatshirts, maybe a hoodie. If it rains, they're going to get wet. If it snows, it's going to get wet. So we're going to talk to you a little bit about that. But let's get into our guests. It's Peace of the Morning, Funky Friday. They came on the freestyle since our brother DJ Five Star is not here. I'm just joking. We're going to start with our elder, a brother I have gained an enormous amount of respect for. He is now the convener of the Eastern Shore region of the Caucus of African-American Leaders here in the state of Maryland. A pastor, done a lot of great work, member of the NAACP, a good brother. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome for the very first time, our good brother, Reverend James Jones, to the Peace of the Morning show. Good morning, brother. Peace and love.
Good morning. Peace and love to you, King Darius.
Oh, man, it's so good to have you, man. You know, we have a mutual respect for each other. And, every time we connect, it's always in a positive manner. So we're going to talk to Reverend Jones about the convening of the African-American Caucus of African-American Leaders on the Eastern Shore, which is a huge effort, started here in the city of Annapolis, actually, by none other than Alderman Carl Snowden, but has grown. Harford County has one now, and now there's one on the Eastern Shore. So we definitely appreciate you, Reverend Jones. Also, my brother's keeper, the chairman, the president, the executive director of my brother's keeper here in the state of Maryland. And this brother is an educator, worked significantly, put in a great deal of recruitment. I believe was the director of recruitment at Bowie State University. Just a host of things that he does in our community and for our community. And today he's here to talk to you about the sacrifice that he's going to make. And I'm going to join him in this sacrifice of sorts to make sure that the John Lewis voting rights bill gets passed. Can you imagine right now in the United States of America in 2021, we're still talking about Black people being able to vote?
Absolutely.
My brother Robert Johnson King. Welcome.
Good morning, King Darius.
Show, brother.
King Darius, how are you today? So I just want to make one quick correction because we want to make certain we give factual information out to our listeners. So not the executive director for the state, executive director for Prince George's County chapter. Right? I don't want to get in trouble with the 501c3.
I see you so big, brother. That's all. I apologize. I see you so.
My phone will start ringing and people start, just questioning me on some things. So I want to clear it up.
No doubt. But welcome, man, to the Piece of the Morning show.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get into it.
I'm from New York,
right
so I
away.
can spin a little bit on the ones and twos as well, Darius. If you need to fill in one day.
I no doubt about it. We always need that, Shout out to our brother Kenneth Clark. Thank you so much. Hey, share this show, please. Share this show because, as I said, we're gonna be raising money today to make sure that we have coats for our young people. That the winter, you see, it's about to turn cold this weekend. It's been cold these last couple of days. We've got to take care of our children. So please be prepared for that. We got Carmelita Squeezy Maker, who I think she's got she's gonna kick us off with our first donation. We mentioned that earlier. So thank you so much for being there. Sister Priscilla was at a big event last night. Priscilla actually was part of an announcement of somebody's running for sheriff in Prince George's County, David Grogan. So we want to congratulate him on his effort to be bold for good. So look, let's get into it. Elder Jones, Reverend Jones, tell us about, the formation of the Caucus of African American Leaders on the Eastern Shore. Why is that so important? And what are one of the big things that you all are taking on? I mean, you've been involved in civil rights and making sure that the Eastern Shore and the people there have been able to come together and do what needs to be done to move the needle in terms of progression, in terms of economics, just being able to be recognized for the work that's been done. What made you all convene the Caucus of African American Leaders on the Eastern Shore? And congratulations to you as well.
Well, again, good morning to you, the illustrious King David, and my good friend, my brother, Robert Johnson. We on the Eastern Shore, because of an incident that happened this past June down in our neighborhood down in Ocean City, Maryland, grabbed our attention and let us see that it's time to put a stop to racial injustice, to people isolating us as nobodies, belittling our people through their ways and means of intimidation, etc. We feel that it's time that we make a stand and a statement that we'll no longer tolerate that. The Caucus of African American Leaders on the Eastern Shore are brand new. We started this right after that incident in June, so we're new, but we are powerful and we are growing, especially under the leadership of the Honorable Carl Snowden. We feel compelled to share with you that the things that we do are for a better word, diversity and inclusion. We want to show that enough is enough. It's time for us to stand for what is right, and that we will go forward with any means necessary to make that statement, that we will no longer take a back seat to how any one person or one race of people feel about us, because we are superior in the sight of God.
Well, we appreciate, you taking the lead. It's not an easy task to take on such an important role as the convener of Caucus of African American Leaders on the Eastern Shore. And, people, I don't know that they're aware, but we got some soldiers that came out of the Eastern Shore. Our very own Harriet Tubman, is none other than a proud product. And if you haven't been over to the Eastern Shore, what county is that? Is that Talbot County?
That's Talbot County over in Cambridge, Maryland. About a 30-minute drive from where we are. presently, and she makes a statement. She makes a bold statement in what she did, and we intend to do the same thing. You know, I didn't share with you, but on Monday coming, the 22nd of November, that incident that happened in June will surface severely this time. We are going to be at the courthouse in Ocean City, Maryland, representing the caucus and our people in our community for the trial, the commencement of the trial for the 4 young men that were so brutally and unjustly treated by Ocean City's law enforcement agency back in June. That's coming to trial now. And faces and numbers matter. We encourage everyone that can come out and be with us, say around 9 o'clock on 65th Street in Ocean City. We encourage you to do just that so that we can show that we'll no longer sit idle and take unjust treatment when we know whose we are and who we are.
Wow. Wow. So if you know, we're talking about young people, teenagers that went into Ocean City to have a good time. And in the midst of that, they basically were stopped for vaping or using whatever it was that they said that transpired. But basically, the police stopped them again and said, well, you still smoking and you're not supposed to be smoking on a boardwalk. It's an ordinance. It's something that they should tell them to do. It's not, they weren't breaking the law. It's an ordinance, right? There's a difference between breaking a law and an ordinance. But the people saw the videos and watched these young men, and they charged them with a number of different crimes when they actually assaulted these young men. One who had his hands up and tased. Take us through what you saw, in terms of the video and what transpired with regard to that.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, you're so right in the preponderance of evidence that took place at that particular time. Vaping is an ordinance. It is not a criminal act. It is not a crime. And we don't condone, we don't feel compelled to give them credit for being in that position of vaping. But it is not anything that justifies what those young men went through. No matter what they said to them at the age of 18 and 19, you're somebody's child. And children, as well as adults, should not be treated unjustly by law enforcement, by excessive force, by brutality. And these young men were, on one case, it was videoed live where 4 police officers took a young man down to the boardwalk, face down, and was accosting him, while yet a 5th police officer approached from the side and literally dropped his knee into the small of the back of the young man that they already had face down on the boardwalk. Not only did he drop his knee into his back, but he repetitiously delivered a knee blow to what we call a vital area of the body where the kidney is. 3 times he shot his knee into this young man's side in that vital area that could have caused a life. I mean, kidney damage is kidney damage. But this was done. We asked for certain things from Ocean City as a result of this. And to this day, none of those things have really been presented to us, in a victorious way. One man was asked to show his ID. He reached for his wallet, for his pocket, his backpack, that is, to get his ID, and he was tased to the ground. These acts are unjust, especially when they have not broken a crime, but they denied an ordinance. Come on, people. Let's keep this real. There has to be an internal problem with the spirit of man to do these things to teenagers, to young teenage boys who have come and invested in your community financially on a high school spring break? I don't believe so. I believe we have to look at this totally differently.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, we appreciate you. There's a bus leaving from Annapolis, Maryland at 6:30 a.m. On the Calvert Street, 44 Calvert Street, across from the Arundel Center, going over to the Eastern Shore on Monday morning. The court case starts at 9 a.m. And we want to make sure that we represent the young people there and their families to let them know that we support them and that we're being bold for good. And so, Reverend James, congratulations, James Jones, for establishing, coordinating along with a number of other folks. You know, there are a lot of people that work with you, and you give.
I have a great team.
They asked you to be the convener, so you took on the role. You didn't ask for it, but we sure are glad that you're doing it. And thank you to Reverend Roxy, our good brother Richard Potter. The young man over at Salisbury State University.
Darius.
Darren.
Yes, Dorian.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, he's the president.
We have a great team.
Oh, man.
King David, we have a great team in place. We have Brianna and Lori Britting, Brianna Boyne, Lori Brittingham, Dr. Roxy Dennis, Miss Mary Ashante, and start naming and you miss somebody.
Yeah,
that's not a good thing.
Right. I'm gonna stop you from naming that way that it could be on me. All right.
We started with about 8 concerned people, and in a couple months, our numbers have exceeded. I think we've probably looking at about 46 people that have networked with us already. Awesome. And we expect much, much more participation from concerned people here on Maryland's Eastern Shore. We're reaching out to all 9 counties on this side of the Bay Bridge that they would become an intricate part of this association of the Caucus of African American Leaders on Maryland's Eastern Shore, that we will be able to stand even when others don't understand and make a difference, because we believe that it takes an entire village to raise a child. And this caucus is our child new birth, and we'll see that it goes where God would have it to go. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Reverend James Jones from the Caucus of African American Leaders on the Eastern Shore. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come right back, we're going to hear from none other than our good brother, Robert Johnson, activist who is working to address the major issue of voting rights in America. Can you believe it? We're still dealing with voting right issues in the United States of America for Black people. That's right. When we come back, he's going to tell you something, a sacrifice that he's going to make right here on the Peace in the Morning show.
Power Generation Network is a catalyst to promote Black businesses, providing sustainable solutions that impact our local businesses, our communities, and our families. Washington, D.C., Prince George's County, Maryland, and Atlanta, Georgia are all thriving metropolises. How did it get that way? Leaders came together and took a stand. They put policies in place that made sure Black businesses and Black people benefited from the contracts and the industries that were being developed. That set the stage for an environment where Black people opened doors for others in their community. They were connected and shared their resources. Power Generation Network is fostering that culture all over the country. People of color will create opportunities for each other. Businesses that are committed to excellence will work together, employing the local community, lending capital, and so much more. We use state-of-the-art technology and innovative networking platforms that connect your business with the right people and resources to better manage your businesses and increase your bottom line. Power Generation Network, join our team. We're already on yours.
All right. Power Generation Network, a Black business network, working to get you connected, resourced, and make sure that your goods are sold. And also now we're going to welcome back our good brother, King Robert Johnson. King Robert Johnson is here to talk about a major initiative, a sacrifice that he's willing to make for himself, for his family, for his community, and for the nation, for that matter. Talk to us about, the civil rights bill, the John Lewis voting rights bill that's before Congress right now, and the sacrifice that you're about to make to bring this to fruition.
Good morning, King Darius, and everyone that's listening to your show. As you put it so well, right now is a critical time in history. Right, we're at a point where we have a congressional representatives, state legislatures, and individuals that should represent our interests, the community's best interests. Right, they're trying to suppress the right for individuals to elect people. Right, what I mean by that is there's a bill that has been passed in the House that has not been passed in the Senate. It's the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. What that act, how it reads, it says it responds to the current conditions in voting today by restoring the full protections of the original bipartisan voting acts in 1965, which was last authorized by Congress in 2006. But that bill was what? It was gutted by the Supreme Court in 2013, following in a very important case, the Shelby County decision, right? So with that, it allowed states to implement different voter suppression laws, right? It gave states more rights to implement rules around voting, right? So now you have a disproportionate amount of bills that are sitting in that are possibly going to be laws that disproportionately prevent minorities, the elderly, and youth from voting. Right. This bill provides the tools to the states and individuals to address the discriminatory practices and seeks to protect all Americans' right to vote. Why is voter suppression important to our community? If you go back to the Reconstruction period, after slaves and indigenous blacks were freed, right, we started to participate in elections. 20 individuals were elected throughout the South. Reconstruction came. They said, okay, we need to stop blacks from getting into office, right? 1870, you had 20 individuals elected between from that time. 1890, the numbers reduced because you've had voter suppression laws that intimidated individuals to go out and vote. They literally put laws on the books that were just unfair to blacks and minorities. Now, what I am doing, the sacrifice that I'm doing, and I've written a letter to President Biden, to Vice President Harris, to the members of Congress, to my 2 senators in the state of Maryland, to my congressional representatives in the state of Maryland, indicating that I'm taking a 100-day fast, meaning I will not eat any solid foods, only a liquid diet for 100 days until they pass the voting rights, John Lewis Voting Rights Act in the Senate, and they end voter suppression in the United States. Start a procedure to end that. We need to engage in discussion to make certain that it happens. I'm asking everyone, we all can participate. The first thing that we can do is send a letter to your senators, making sure that that they vote on that bill and pass it. That's most important. 2, I'm asking individuals to join in solidarity. Do what you can. I'm doing 100 days, but if someone can do 1 day, that's fine. If you can do 1 hour, that's fine. But share this information to make sure that people send letters to their senators. We need this bill to pass. Why is it important? If you look at the makeup of Congress right now, the Congress, with redistricting, with voter suppression, with new laws that are in place in 19 states, right, that have literally passed laws right now that suppress the right to vote. 49 states have over 430 bills that are going to be voted on that may suppress the right to vote, right? So we need to make certain that the Congress acts on both the House and on the Senate side. So I have 100 days. The next day that I'll eat, King Darius, and we'll probably break bread on this day, February 23rd.
Wow. brother sacrificing. Tremendous work. We appreciate you, taking, that stand. When we talked about this, we talked about Dick Gregory and the
Absolutely.
sacrifice that he made, where he actually walked from the East Coast to the West Coast.
Yes, sir.
And he was fasting. He didn't eat any food.
No food. And the brother walked from the East 4,000 miles. 4,000 miles. That's sacrifice. Brother
That's
Joe
sacrifice.
Madison, pardon me for cutting you off, King. Brother Joe Madison is leading the charge, right? He is on day 11 right now, the Black Eagle. Joe Madison is leading the charge. He's doing the same thing. And actually, I have to give credit when credit is due. I was inspired by him to be able to do this.
I love the fact that you saw fit to give credit where credit is due. It is definitely admirable. And I want to join you from a slight different perspective in terms of the fast. We're talking about violence everywhere. You see the enormous amount of fights in some high schools. They fought every day since school started in September, every day. And these are in communities here in Anne Arundel County. I'm in Anne Arundel County, but throughout the state and throughout the country. You saw the dads in Louisiana. We're recruiting dads right now. Today we're doing a couple of things. Love Stream 422. We just got a $250 donation from Miss Carmelita Makel. Thank you so much. The class of 88, Annapolis High School. We're asking anybody at Annapolis High School, any other class of 88, match. Her donation was $250 towards winter coach for our young people. So thank you so much for that. But we're also recruiting men to go into schools and in our communities. Dads on Duty was the program down in Louisiana. We need men on the front line. We need you men. We need brothers. It makes a difference when they hear that deep voice. How you doing? What's going on? That's Mako Mentoring that made that donation. Thank you very much for that donation. So we're asking others, that we'll put it in the chat, Love Stream 422. But the sacrifice that I'm going to make, and to be quite frank, it's more symbolic because I don't have to have another drink for the rest of my life, but I'm putting alcohol down. And the reason being is because alcohol is at the key. Look at it. Look it up. Alcohol causes heart disease. It causes cancer. Think about the pre-existing conditions of COVID-19. Those pre-existing conditions, cancer, heart disease, diabetes, obesity, all of those things are attributed to alcohol. But it also, 40% of sexual assaults, alcohol related. 40% of homicides, alcohol related. 40% of domestic violence incidents in alcohol related. Right. I don't know if you all saw the butchering, the beating that this young man did of his girlfriend, the football player. He threw her all over the house, hit her, all kinds of things. This is happening with our young people every single day. They're teenage girls that are being beaten every single day, hiding with their children and their babies at each other girl's house. I'm not telling you what I heard or read in the newspaper. I'm telling you what was, told directly to me by young ladies who are running from their boyfriends, running from their significant others, their children's fathers who have been beating them. This is happening on a daily basis, and it is 40% of the time attributed to alcohol. So as a result of that, while we're having all of these different conferences and town halls about the violence, we got to be real about what's causing the violence. And a major contributing factor to the violence is alcohol. It is killing us in so many ways. We're having events as leaders with alcohol on the table. We got to remove it. You can't keep talking about, on one hand, I want to keep people safe. I want people to be healthy. Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, I'm drinking something that we know is killing us. And this is the worst thing about it. When people make this statement, when people say, well, they're going to drink it anyway. How ignorant is that?
It is very ignorant, Darius, because you think about it, right? So if people make that statement, they're saying that's just the way that it is around here, right? That's what they said when we were what? When we were captured, right? And brought here. So that's just the way it is in this country. We're better than them. They're subservient. They're not human, right? But to bring it forward, it doesn't have to be that way. And that ties into, right? The sacrifice and the attention that you're bringing to alcohol, it ties on into the importance of voting as well, because that's on a local level. Look at the liquor board licenses. Why are there so many why are there so many liquor stores in our community, right? We need to make certain, how do those individuals get those licenses all the time? That's part of your vote, right? So the individuals that we put in office, they can control that, right? So we need to go back, and I just want to move back for 1 second. If you think about the previous election, Black people came out in record numbers this year, the last election cycle. Starting with Brother Clyburn, with that meeting with now President Biden, it shifted the tide in the presidential election, right? They almost flipped North Carolina. They flipped Georgia. They prevented Wisconsin from being flipped. They prevented Pennsylvania from being flipped, right? So now you have 19 states, right, that are saying, no, that's not going to happen anymore, right? Texas was at risk, right? Texas was at risk. So Florida was at risk. So those states have now put in laws to say, we need to make certain that they don't come out and vote. Don't even give them the option to choose a candidate. Let's restrict the vote. They can't do it by violence anymore, but what they're doing is what, right? Removing redistricting, putting tighter restrictions on mail-in ballots, tighter restrictions on ID, preventing college students that live in certain communities from voting in the state that they go to school in, asking for additional ID from our seniors, asking for additional ID from our youth, for first-time voters, right? Removing ballot boxes in certain districts, right? Or reducing the time that they have primary elections, right? So all of those things are voter suppression. Those are acts of voter suppression. We need to make certain that this doesn't happen. I will say this to everyone that's listening. Guys, it won't make a difference who's on the ballot and at the end of 2022 and moving forward. If your right to vote is suppressed, right, it doesn't make a difference who's on the ballot. You won't have the numbers to move individuals forward. And then the laws that are put in place after that will be a direct result of individuals failing to act now. So I'm not only acting for myself now and for my family now, this is an act for future generations. This is an act for future generations, ladies and gentlemen. Make a sacrifice. Start with an act. Send a letter, and then make a sacrifice. Bring awareness to voter suppression. Don't allow all of these other things that are happening in society to overshadow that. This should be topic number one discussion.
Hey, we appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for taking the stand. And as I said, we're going to join you in that effort and asking people to put alcohol down for 100 days to let people know that violence that's taking place in our community is directly attributed to alcohol. You want to know why our children are so violent? Think about it. For a whole year, almost 18 months, and still children have been putting alcohol-based sanitizer on their hands, which goes into the body. They're smelling it. So not only is it going and ingesting it physically directly from the hands, but they're also inhaling it, right? So the alcohol over and over, that has an impact. The National Institute of Health just did a study on alcohol and the impact that it's had on the organs in the body, but also it intoxicates you, but it creates a violent tendency. Mm-hmm. So if you think about it and you look at directly, the direct correlation between homicides and gun violence and where they take place in cities, and then you look at the same map and you put liquor stores, you'll find liquor stores tied directly where you have a concentration of 2 or 3 liquor stores in a 2 or 3 block radius, then you're going to have an enormous amount of homicides, shooting incidents. You can look at the map right now. You can go to the health department. There's a study the Baltimore City Health Department did on juvenile violence that clearly shows this. And then in areas and instances where they have very few liquor stores, you have very few incidents of violence, very few homicides. There's a direct correlation. So I'm going to join you and ask others to join us and to come on board and put alcohol down for 100 days. Put it down so we understand the value of our lives. Is that what's more important? Do we want to keep saying rest in peace? We keep rapping about and hip hopping, talking about, having battles, talking about, smoking each other, shooting each other, killing each other. And our rappers dying in the street. Right. So we're speaking what we want to see come into existence. So we ask you to do something different. We ask you to be bold for good. Join us, brother. Let them know how they can contact you, good brother, to support your cause and your effort as you go on this 100-day fast.
So really quick, before I give the contact information, Darius, you are so right when you talk about alcohol and the violence that occurs from it. Think about this for a second, right? You just mentioned how alcohol plays a role in homicide, right? Then when we go to funerals and or a wake, what's the first thing that we do after that? We start drinking. We toast and we drink, and people leave there, full of alcohol. Now, I'm not going to lie and say that I've never had a drink, right? Before I stopped drinking, if it was brown, I was drinking it. But I've changed. Everybody grows, you mature, right? And you learn from that. So we're asking individuals, I'm with King Darius, 100 days, put alcohol down. I'm doing a 100-day liquid fast. Everyone can do something, spread the word. So I can be contacted at Robert Johnson you may contact me at My Brother's Keeper at pgcounty.com, or you can contact me at I am.Robert Johnson on Instagram and Robert1024 on Twitter. At Robert1024. At Robert J1024, pardon me.
What was the first one? My Brother's Keeper?
Right. It was My Brother's Keeper, pgcounty.com.
My Brother's Keeper, pgcounty.com.
pgcounty.com. Right. At Robert J 1024.
Got it.
And I am Robert Johnson on Instagram. Brother Darius, you are doing great work connecting with the community, always keeping current issues in front of us, making sure that our communities' issues and challenges are heard, but more importantly, building a coalition of individuals that are willing to act and to make change happen. Phenomenal.
Well, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you, brother. King James Jones, Reverend Jones, thank you for joining us this morning for the Caucus of African American Leaders on the Eastern Shore. How can people reach you if they want to be involved on the Eastern Shore? How can they support?
Okay, and thank you for having us. And just to go along with what Mr. Johnson shared with you, what you're doing makes a difference in the lives of young people, as well as our seniors that would be a part of. You can reach us at the email address is all lowercase reb.jay.jones@gmail.com. That is reb.jay.jones@gmail.com. And we do that, or you can inbox me in Messenger, and we'll get back to you. Thank you so much for allowing us to be a part of this morning. It was good to visit with you again, Mr. Johnson. You were with us on Monday on our meeting, and we look forward to making great things and differences with change in our communities. God bless each and every one of you. King Darius.
Yes, sir.
When I grow up, I want to be just like you.
Yo, brother, I'm working. What you doing right now? Hey,
see you on Monday.
I appreciate the respect. So here we go. A quick recap. If you want to volunteer for our Dads on Duty, we need men to come into the schools, in the community. If you got a record already, that's not going to stop us as long as you're a good brother and you haven't been in trouble in the recent times. And no sexual assault crimes or crimes against children. We welcome you to join us, walk with us. None of us are perfect. We've all make mistakes. We're continuously growing, so we want to make sure you come on out and join us. Dads on Duty in schools and in communities, right? Don't worry about the name. We can come up with another name, but we're going to be out in our neighborhoods like we've already been. to make sure that our children are safe and they know we care, right? And we're gonna bring resources to them. So it's not just talking. We're not going out there preaching. We're going out there. If somebody want prayer, we're gonna definitely pray. We're gonna be praying and bringing the spirit. But our presence alone is enough, right? But then we're gonna come with that with some resources to expunge records, to make sure that we get people's records clean, to make sure that we have job training, make sure we have entrepreneurship training for those who want to go straight into entrepreneurship. We want to make sure that people who want certifications, whether it's IT certifications, whether it's in the health field, any other project management, you can go make $80,000 right now as a project manager, right? And work 9 to 5 from home. I mean, these are things that you can do right now. So this is what we're going to be bringing to our drug treatment, make sure mental health services and support. So that's what we're doing with Dads on Duty in our community and in our schools. And also we're promoting a winter coat drive. We already got our first $250 from Mako Mentoring LLC. Thank you so much. LoveStream 422 is the Cash App. Put notes in the section. We'll make sure you get your tax deduction for that. Thank you so much for joining us. You heard our brother Robert Johnson, who is leading the charge to make sure that the Voting Rights Act is passed. He's gone straight to the president. He's gone straight to Congress, and he's doing a 100-day fast, liquid only liquids for the next 100 days. And I told him I would join him. I'm putting alcohol down, probably for the rest of my life, but definitely for 100 days, because I want people to understand the importance and the connection between alcohol and the overindulgence of alcohol in our communities. And look this up. That's caused directly tied to violence. Fetal alcohol syndrome. Look it up and understand what that does. That means drunk sperm, drunk eggs. Children are swimming in alcohol in the womb. Mm-hmm. Literally. So you talked about crack babies. They addressed that because it was crack. You could lock people up and send people to jail for it. Alcohol is legal. They're pushing it every day. They got our rappers with it. They got, we're doing it at our political events. We have got to put it down. It is killing us. And as the brother said, after we lose a loved one to homicide, that probably involved somebody who was drinking before they went out and killed somebody. Then after the funeral, we go out back or we go to the repast and we drink alcohol. We sick, but we can't keep doing the same things we've been doing and expect different results. Darius A. Stanton, Be Bold for Good, retooling leadership. To my brother 5-star, working to get us booked all around the world with the Be Bold for Good tour in Florida that's not with us right now. We love you. Thank you so much. Share this show. Remember, Black dollars matter. Right. Peace. Hey, brother, thank you, man.
Peace, King.
Love you, King. Love you all. Thank you so much for your support. Appreciate you being here with us on the Peace in the Morning show. It's Funky Friday. Right now, though, it stinks if we don't get out and do something about our community. But I know you will. I believe in you. I know we're great people, all of us, regardless of your color, regardless of your race, regardless of your sex. I know that we got good people out there, and we're going to be bold for good. This is Darius A. Stanton with the Peace in the Morning show saying peace in the morning.